Okay, welcome, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining our call today. We are live on Facebook, and I'll just quickly check and see. My volumes are down here. Okay, and let's see. So we will get going with the. Okay, Vindhyavali Mataji and Sini Matajis are on the waiting room. I'm going to admit them all. And Archana Mataji is also there. I'm just going to make sure that the waiting room is switched off. And let's see. All right. Rani Mataji is there. And participant. What is this? Participants. More. Okay. So let's get started today. We're going to read from Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, but we'll do prayers to the spiritual master before that. Om Ajnanatimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padkamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Welcome again, dear devotees, and we're going to read from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 2, and we are going to read from text number 67, and we are continuing on our reading of verses on controlling the mind and how the mind goes here and there, right? We started with, and not only the mind, we also talked about other senses also, starting with the tortoise and how the tortoise can withdraw the senses inside its shell. Similarly, we should also learn how to do that. And then a few verses told us, walked us through what happens if we don't do that. Vishyan pumsan, if we focus so much on the objects of our that the sense objects go and touch upon, if we just start to contemplate on that, then there is serious disaster here. And then we also talked about how if we focus on Krishna, then we get prasade sarva dukkhanam hani rasya bhajayate, that devotional service to the Lord will remove all the sins that we have. And one of the reasons that devotional service removes the sin and is that when we try to understand why we suffer, we have sufferings in this world, it is primarily because we are we have got a backlog. We've got a backlog of so many things and so many bad things that we have done in the past, and that we have to suffer for that. And when we take birth, it's not that the whole record is erased out for us. It's just a few of the good and the bad things are designated to be suffered and enjoyed in this world. And then, we take another body and we continue. And the worst thing is that while we are in this body, We are here to erase our karmic reactions, both good and bad, but we end up doing even more, good and bad, which means that we are adding it back again to our backlog. So this backlog doesn't get cleared. And sometimes we always say that, it's not the pending, it's not the work that you do that makes you feel tired or anxious. It's always the work that has not been done. When you have a lot of pending work to do, then when you go to sleep in the night, you cannot sleep because that pending work is after you, right? On the other hand, if you do a lot of work in a day, right, then in the night you go to sleep very peacefully. So it's not the work that troubles you, it's always the pending work. Similarly, the pending thing that haunt us is the karmic reactions that we have. And when we do devotional service, it will remove those. And the question there is that why does it remove it? Right? Why is devotional service required to remove it? And why can I not do some sort of a prayashchit to remove my karmic reactions, right? I can go and do some yagyas, I can go and keep some fasting, I can go and give some donations, and I can thereby I can neutralize whatever effects are going to head my way, like that. And or I could be going in inside a very miserable situation, and I can do some, a little bit of adjustments, material adjustments here and there to get out of that, right? And so there is a very famous verse that we come across in the literature, and it says kinkar eva shochavat. So this prayashchit, when they are describing the prayashchit, they equate the prayashchit to kinkar. Kinkar means the elephant, and shochvat, shoch means to take a bath. So it is like the undergoing penances and prayashchita is equated to the same thing as if an elephant is taking a bath. And one might just think that what's wrong with an elephant that's taking a bath, right? What's wrong with that? He's taking some water, he's actually cleansing himself, so what's wrong? My prayashchit should also cleanse me, right? So what is wrong with an elephant taking a bath? What is wrong with the bathing process of an elephant? If you can take out your notepads and touchpads and tell me what is wrong there. After all, he goes into a river. Rivers are clean, at least in the jungle. And he's taking a bath there. What's wrong with it? And I'm going to look at the text messages to see one chat has come. I don't know whether it's God. Okay, that's an old chat that I'm seeing here. And am I getting some answers today? All right, let's see. Arni Mataji says, Hare Krishna to all, he'll become dirty again. Usually they get D. Okay, after coming out of the water, he gets dirty again. Okay, but we all also get dirty again. Yeah, Varshana Devi Dasi Mataji has the right answer, and she says, hey, I love your spell check. Sadhana Mataji. Your spell check is investing. So she says he dirties himself the moment it comes back again, right? So that's the difference. That it just, comes out, and what does it do? Because as soon as it comes out, then the flies come and bother him. So he doesn't want the flies to bother him, so he takes some dust in his trunk and then he sprinkles it all over his body so the flies won't come, right? So it's like, why did you take a bath if you had to get dirty again? And that is the concept of prayashchit, right? And that is that you have done something wrong and you are now trying to negate that effect. And what happens? Guess what? The moment you negate that effect and you come to zero, you want to do that again because your senses are going to direct you into doing that. So that's what they're saying, that this method of prayashchit is almost like kinkareva shachivat, almost like as if it is the bathing of an elephant, right? You take a shower and then you get dirty again. So um, why does it happen? Why does it happen after I do some prayashchit? I undergo so many austerities and trouble. And why do I do the same thing again, which gave me so much of grief in the first place? Right? And the reason for that is that I've got such strong desires. I've got such strong desires to enjoy that I don't even care about it. And Prabhupada says in his books that the animal camel, The animal camel will go, and it lives in the desert. So in desert, there are not many foliage, right? There's not many leaves in the trees. Everything is dry. And the trees will also have thorns in them, right? And so what this camel will do is it'll go and bite off some of the twigs and start chewing it. And with the twigs, he'll also get some thorns in his mouth. And those thorns go and prick his tongue and his cheeks, in the inner of his cheeks, and the blood comes out. And he's eating that blood and he's finding it tasty because it's salty, right? So if he thinks that, that good salty taste is actually coming from the thorns that he's eating, and he continues to eat them and he continues to bleed. So that's the kind of thing that we also do in this material world, right? So we indiscriminately, we try to enjoy, and those things, we know that they're going to trouble us, we know that we're going to suffer, but still we do it because the tongue is so powerful. It wants to taste everything under the sun. And if you want to see the power of a tongue, you should just watch a young baby, those who are 1 year old, right? You give them anything, they put it in the mouth. Anything you give them, from shoes to spoons to eatables to non-eatables, everything goes inside their mouth. So that's who we are, right? So just removing, or just atoning for some sins that we have done is not going to help us, because we are going to sin again, and then we'll atone again, and we'll sin again, and it's like a cycle that happens. So what we have to do is we have to find out the root cause, right? Symptomatic treatments are not going to help. We have got to find the root cause of it. And the root cause of all our sinful activities is, can you tell me what it is on the pad? The root cause of all our sinful activities is, and I'm looking for a one word answer. That's two words. Any more answers coming up? Yes, and the correct answer is desires, right? The root cause of our sinful activities is our desires, and to fulfill those desires, we have even given a body, which is nothing but a network of senses. Sharira Vidya Jal, Yorindriya Tahikal, right? So we have got these senses. The cause is the desire to enjoy the material world. And if we know how to cut then and root and erase that desire, then the subsequent things that happen to us are going to go away. So this is what devotional service does to us. That not only does it erase the sinful reactions, which is all the backlog that you have from various janmas, not only does it do that, it removes from us the tendency to sin. So not only does it remove the sin, it'll also remove the tendency for us to sin. So that's why we say that we should be pursuing devotional service. Now, as part of devotional service, we say, okay, Mayeva man adhatsva. Krishna says, put your mind on me. And we say, okay, I'm trying to put my mind on Krishna. But guess what? The mind goes everywhere but on Krishna, right? So this verse from today that we are talking about is going to talk about something similar that happens over here. So coming up on a screen close to you is chapter number 2, verse number 67 from the Bhagavad Gita, right? And Indriyanam hi charatam yanmano nu vidhiyate tat asya harati pragyanam vayurnavam ivambhasi indriyanam hi charatam yanmano nu vidhiyate tat asya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivambhasi. Very, very interesting words. And we are going to look at the word meaning as usual. And let's see, what do we have here? Indriyanam, that you have guessed it, Indriya we know, and it is of the senses. He means certainly, that we would have known by now. Charatam means while roaming, so going here and there. Okay, so our senses are always roaming, which means they're trying to find something. And what are they trying to find? Indriyas are, our senses are roaming, and they are trying to attach themselves to, and the answer is a two-word answer. Two-word answer. And let's see, the answers are coming in here on the chat message for me. It was a two-word answer. And Archana Mataji got it right for sense objects, right? So our senses go after the objects of the senses. Okay? And they are roaming like that, here and there, everywhere. Yat means with which. Manaha means mind. Anuvidhyate becomes constantly engaged, constantly, one after the another, one after the another, one engagement, another engagement, another engagement. Anuvidhyate, one after the another, following, one following the other. Anu means to follow, right? Anuj means younger brother, one who has followed in birth, right? Anuja, like that. So anuvidhyate means constantly engage. Tat means that. Asya means his. Harati means takes away. Pragyana means intelligence. Vayu means wind. Navam means boat. And Iva means like. And Ambhasi means on the water. So, can you give me the Sanskrit for boat? What is the Sanskrit for boat? Anybody? Anybody wants to give me Sanskrit for boat? And what happened to my chat window? Okay, here it is. Sanskrit for boat, Sanskrit for boat. Nav or Navam. Okay, very good. Navam, Navam. Here it says Harati. Here it says Navam is boat. Okay. So key thing which you remember here is a boat, right? And Ambhasi, Amba means water. Ambhasi is on the water. And what is intelligence called in Sanskrit? What is intelligence called? Anybody looking at the screen can tell me what is the Sanskrit for intelligence? Pragyam, yeah, Pragyam. Okay, I'll take that as an answer. And let's look at the translation, what the translation is going to tell me. Okay, so let's get going into the translation. I'm going to remove all these windows. And in the translation, Prabhupada tells us, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and he's telling us that as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Now, a few weeks ago, we were talking about we had some examples of some animals who had just one roaming sense and they were carried away. Do you remember those examples? Anybody remember that? What sense carried away whom? Just give me one example on that. One example of one of the roaming senses. Elephant by the touch. Yes, bee was attracted to the honey, right? So we have one sense object, right? Went there and got caught and they were killed. So what to talk about us who have got, you know, five sense organs and they're all going in all the different directions. Charati, they're going in all the different directions. So what's going to happen to us, right? So here in this particular verse, and let's go and see how what Prabhupada has to tell us more in this particular verse. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that unless all the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement, even one of the senses. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambrisha, all the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. Okay, so let's see. King Maharaj Ambrisha, any ideas what he was using to control, for how he was using his senses? He was using his whole body. He had focused his whole body on the Lord. he was using his whole body on the Lord. Can you give me one example of a body part he was using in the service of the Lord, and how was he using it? Reach out to your text pads and let me know. Be nimble fingered and quickly tell me. And let's see what's coming up in our chat window here. Okay, I'm just waiting. Ambarish Maharaj, how many senses do you think he had? Any answers? How many senses he had? Yeah, okay. All right. So tongue was used in eating or honoring the prasadam and chanting the glories of the Lord. And eyes were used to do the darshan of the Lord, to look at the Lord. Yes, very good, Ashna Mataji and Varshana Mataji. So here they're giving the example of, one of the roaming senses will just, take you away. And before you know, you're completely gone and you're completely lost, right? Has it ever happened to you that you went to WhatsApp to post a message, an important message to somebody, right? And then you went there and you saw some other message, and then 2 hours later you realize that you have not sent that message for which you went there in the first place. And Arunimata ji is very honest. She says all the time, right? All the time. This is what this today's verse is also saying, that Indriyani harasa, it will just go and carry away your intelligence. We had used our intelligence, which said this is a very important piece of information. I need to send it to somebody. And then guess what? Somebody sends you a nice joke and you like the joke so much. And then it's like, let me tell this to my this friend, and then to my that friend, and to this friend. And then you send it to one of the friends, and then or many friends, and then one of them comes back and sends you another joke which you like it even better, and now you want to send it back again to all the people, and so on and so forth. This back and forth, back and forth, back and forth happens, and we just get carried away, right? And the mind of a devotee and a non-devotee, they operate in two different ways because the object for them is different, right? Just as we have, every sense has got an object, right? So the mind also has got an object. The mind has to go and rest itself somewhere, and when the mind goes and rests itself on the lotus feet of the Lord, that's the best place for it to rest. All other senses will go and rest here, there, and everywhere. So for a devotee, the minds are everywhere. The mind goes everywhere. Manorathena siti dhavato bahi, right? And there's a very nice verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which says, Tatpad pankaja palasha vilasha bhaktya karma shayan Gatyanti udgatyanti santaha tadvanna rikta matayo ratayo piruddha shroto ganashtamarnam bhaj vasudevam. So what it means is yat pada pallava palash vilasha bhaktya. Pad means, what does pad mean? Any guesses? Anybody wants to guess? What does pad mean in Sanskrit? Any answers? Any answers? Any guesses? Pad. Pad means the lotus feet. Pad means the feet, actually. Actually, precisely, it means the feet. And Kamal Pad, Vishnu Pad will just add, will qualify that or describe it. So, Yat Pad Pankaja. So, Pad Pankaja. Pankaj means lotus. So, lotus feet, right? Yat Pad Pankaja Palasha Vilasha Bhaktya. So, the feet that look like petals of a lotus flower. Palash is a petal. Yatpad pankaja palasha vilasha bhaktya, right? So what it says is karma shayan. Karma shayan means karma ashayan. It's a plural. And ashayan is the plural of asha. What does asha mean? What is asha? What do you know asha to mean? What is asha? Karma asha. Desire, hope, yeah, like that, right? So I want something, right? And this is karmashya, which means I want something for myself, fruitive desires, right? Karmashayan udagrathayanti, grathayanti udagrathayanti santaha. So what it says that one who have taken the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, for them, this karmashan, these desires that have a tight knot, they create a tight knot between the soul and the body, right? It is very tightly because I need this body to enjoy and fulfill all the desires that I have as a soul. So I need this body, I'm attached to this body. And so I'm very much entangled through many, many threads that are knotted very tightly. So karmashayan, right? Uttagatayanti, it will open up all these knots. So devotional service, when you do devotional service to the Lord, these knots are opened up, right? Karmashayan, grathita, uttagratayanti santaha. Grathita means gaंठें जो लगी हुई हैं, right? Uttagratayanti खोल देना गांठों को. Uttagratayanti santaha, for the sant, right? For the saints that who are there, right? Tadvanna rikta matayo yatayo piruddhaha. So he says, but this is a very difficult thing to do. And that is Padapalasha, to go and take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord is a difficult thing to do. And that's why those who don't do it, which would be our jnanis, right, and the karmis, they're not thinking about God, they're just thinking about us, or rikta matayo. So their minds are rikta, zero. They have no intelligence. Tadvanna rikta matayo ratayo piruddha. So for them, it's a very difficult thing to do, right? To take shelter of the Lord. And that's why Shroto Ganas Tam Aranam Bhajavasudevam. Shroto Ganas. Shroto Ganas means these waves, right? Waves of material desire. They come in waves, you know. Have you ever had that experience that you open a packet of cookies and before you know it's gone? Like 12 cookies down the throat, without, you know, sitting in front of the TV where we were supposed to eat maybe one. What is that? Shrotoganash. It's a wave of desire that comes on us. One cookie, two cookies, three cookies, and then something interesting comes on the television. And because of that, your stomach constrict and you think it's hunger. So you put on one more cookie. Like that it got. So these waves of material desires that come, that those who are rikta matayo, those who don't focus on the Lord, they are not able to handle these waves of material nature that come, material desire that come to them. And that's why, you know, Choto Ganattam Aranam Bhaja Vasudevam. That's why go and Bhaja Vasudevam. Vasudevam Sarvam Iti Samahatma Sudurlabhas. It's difficult for people to do that. So that is what the thing is, that this is how you should go, right? Otherwise, you know, it'll take you as strong winds will take a boat anywhere. We'll be able to, you know, push the boat in the turbulent waters. It'll go here and there, where you were trying to have the boat go slowly in one particular direction. It doesn't happen to us. And this happens to those who are actually also trying to focus. They are trying to focus their mind. They're saying, no thoughts, no thoughts, no thoughts, no thoughts. And the thoughts are coming on them, right? So he's saying that this is what is going to happen to us, right? So it's a very nice example of a boat. And so many times, you know, a boat is as a vehicle to carry you from one place to another place, right? The other verse that I usually quote is Yasyasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana Sarver Gunas Tatra Samasate Suraha Harava Bhaktasya Kuto Mahadguna Manorathena Sitadavato Bhahi. So it's saying that, you know, those who are devotees of the Lord, they get all the good qualities of the demigod. That's fine. But what happens to those who are not, right? Harav abhaktasya, one who's not a bhakt of the Lord. Abhaktasya kuto mahadguna. What good qualities does he have? None. Apparently, he might have all the good qualities, but none. For example, you might see a very rich man giving charity to the poor, and you might think that he's a fantastic person, right? On the material plane, yes. But you look inside, he's thinking that, you know, I have got this money, I have the controller, I am the king, and I'm the one who's feeding all these people. So there is no connection with Krishna consciousness there. And so it is Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam, it's no good at all. Like that. And so there's no real good, there's no real good qualities, not that the real good qualities are the qualities of a devotee, right? And the first thing you have to do is to become a devotee of the Lord. And if you don't do that, then manorathena sthiti, rath is another vehicle to carry you from this place to that place. So Manorath, you can sit down and you can get carried away to many places, right? For example, there's this very famous story we hear of a milkmaid. So she was a milkmaid, and her job was to milk the cows and then carry the milk to the village and to the village marketplace and sell and bring the money back, right? And do that day after day after day after day. And then one day, they had the cow gave birth to a calf, and it was a she calf, right? So there was a lot of jubilation that, now we got one more cow that's going to give more milk, and which means more business. So the calf has been born, and there's some milk, so she's going to the village to sell. And so she has her pot of milk on her head, and as she's going, she's thinking that, okay, now that we got a she calf, she's going to grow. She's also going to give milk. Now I'm carrying one pot of milk, and then tomorrow I will have another pot on top of that, and then I'll go to the village and I will sell both, so I will make even more money. And then with that money, we'll be able to buy one more cow, and then we'll have even more milk. So from one cow to 3 cows to 6 cows, and this way the milk is increasing, the money is increasing, and with that money, comes the fact that you can look beautiful, right? You can buy jewelry, you can buy good clothes, so you'll start looking beautiful. And then she says, with that money, I'll really go and buy this and add that. And then when I go and I walk and to sell the milk, then everybody will look at me and they'll say, oh, wow, what a beautiful, woman's going there. And then one day, the prince is going to come, and he's going to say, oh, what a beautiful woman. And he'll say, will you marry me? And then I will say, no. And the moment she said no, all the milk from her head fell down. So this is what the mind does. Manorathena siti dhavato bahi. This is how the mind carries you and then dumps you down, till you come to reality. So this is one example of that we took in today's verse, and that is of a boat, right? So I have a boat, and my boat carries me. Just as a boat is carried away, similarly, your mind can be carried away, right? However, don't lose heart. We have other verses also in Srimad Bhagavatam, actually, and which also talk about a boat, right? And I'm going to bring that verse up here for you all to look at it. And as soon as it comes up, I will share the screen with you. Let's get going where we are here. Share the screen. Okay, sharing the desktop number 2. And this is from Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 20th verse, 20th chapter, is a very beautiful chapter. A lot of fantastic verses are inside it. And we are just going to go over this. And what this verse says is, Nirdehamadyam sulabham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam guru karnadharam mayanukulena nabhasvateritam puman bhavadbhim nataretsa atmaha. And what does it mean? Very, very powerful verse here. And what it says is, the human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature, although it is a very rare achievement, but it is automatic. This human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. How powerful is that, right? And let's look at the purport here by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The human body, which is obtained after passing through many inferior forms, is created in such a way that it can award the highest perfection of life. A human being is supposed to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the bona fide spiritual master is the appropriate guide for such service. The causeless mercy of Lord Krishna is compared to favorable winds that help the boat of the body to ply smoothly on the course back home, back to Godhead. Lord Krishna gives his personal instructions in Vedic literature, speaks through the bona fide spiritual master, and encourages, warns, and protects his sincere devotee from within the devotee's heart. Such merciful guidance of the Lord moves a sincere soul quickly on the path back to Godhead. But one who cannot understand that the human body is a suitable boat for crossing the ocean of material existence will see no need to accept a captain in the form of the spiritual master and will not at all appreciate the favorable winds of the Lord's mercy. He has no chance of achieving the goal of human life. Acting against his own self interest, he gradually becomes the killer of his own soul. So they made a very powerful statement, killer of his soul. And then you'll say, hey, aren't we supposed to be doing chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita? And you said, na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Why are you saying this? Right? And the reason is that this style of speaking is known as hyperbole. When you will speak something which we speak it for making a very strong impact and a very strong effect, right? So killer of the soul is used, yes, Aruni Mataji, it is used figuratively here, and and so the soul never dies, right? So what, and basically another, some acharyas also explained the sentence to mean that killer of the soul means that you are deviating the soul from the path, from the job that it was supposed to do. The soul is supposed to do devotional service, and you are not doing that, so you are as good as dead, right? What's the use of you? You're not doing your thing that you're supposed to do, right? Like that. So and so we see that here the spiritual master, so there's so much of emphasis here being made on the spiritual master, right? And the spiritual master, in the purport we read that spiritual master is actually um, a representative of the Lord. So Lord first gives instructions to us through the Vedic literature, and then he plans and he arranges for many spiritual masters in our lives who can guide us, right? And as Vaisheshika Prabhu says, that the spiritual master is also like a doctor, and like in the old days when doctors used to make personal visits to the homes, um, the doctor used to come with a black bag, and everybody knew that he's a doctor because he carried um, a bag, a black bag. And so in the bag, he would have the medicine. So he'd come, he would see the patient, give some of the medicines from there, prescribe some more. And okay, so I've just got distracted from the message. And somebody will have to tell me what's happening over there, and I'll definitely address that request on the chat. So um, yeah, so where was I? I lost the thought there. Yeah, so we were talking about the spiritual master, and so the spiritual master is also like a doctor, right? He's also like a doctor, and in his little black box he has got hymns, right? The kirtans and the songs that he sees, and and um, and so he has got instructions, hymns, and then he has got instructions. So the spiritual master's instructions are like the favorable winds, right? That will steer up the boat of this body that we have, will steer the boat into the right direction. So you see a boat, you can be a boat and you can get steered and go with the turbulences of the mind and go in one direction, or you follow the instructions of the spiritual master and then you can go inside into the other direction over there, right? So I will stop over here. We have 20 minutes to go for the hour, on the top of the hour. And before we go there, I just got the message over here. Sorry, I'm so not so not connected well with what's happening in the material world. And so I hear there's some gunfire in Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, and our Namaste Mataji's granddaughter is there. So we'll pray to Krishna for her safety. And we'll do that by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra um, 11 times. And please do pray sincerely from your heart to Krishna to save her granddaughter, because she's related to a devotee. And as long as she has this human body, we want her to use this boat under the instructions of her grandmother, who can be a spiritual master, and so that she goes back to Godhead in due course of time. But for now, we want her here so that Namasya can instruct her. Okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Dear Lord Krishna, please keep Namaste Mataji's granddaughter and all the other human beings and other species there in Colorado. Please give them your shelter. Hare Krishna. Thank you for considering a request. Hari Bol. So I'm going to unmute all of you, and you can start asking your questions. And one question that I saw come up on the chat was that when the mind is distressed, then what do we do to the boat that is going through turbulent waters, because the mind is completely gone crazy with the distress? Okay, so I will answer that question, and in the meantime, if you have questions, you can raise your hand so that I can take answers one by one. And you are allowed to unmute yourself. You can do that. So the question was that if I'm distressed, then what do I handle? How do I handle the mind? Because distress means the winds are blowing very, 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 very strong across us. So what do we do? Well, what can we do? What we can do is a couple of things, right? One is that you remember everything that works or moves needs some fuel, right? Like car needs gas, right? Like that. So everything needs some sort of fuel. And similarly, the mind also moves, right? We talked about how the mind can move from this place to this place to this place to this place. It moves. So it must be getting some fuel from somewhere, right? What is the fuel that feeds the mind, right? It is air, your breath, the breathing that you do. If you stop breathing, it's easier to control the mind, right? So now I'm not telling you that when you're distressed, you stop breathing, right? So when you're distressed, take deeper breaths, right? And go out in an open space. Now, here's the thing that they say, that in big auditoriums where the great singers come and they do their songs, right? And thousands of people come and sit inside one auditorium and listen to this beautiful music. And the auditorium has got the best of the acoustics. So there, they put some concrete bars on the top, concrete slabs on the top of the auditorium at strategic places. And the reason for that is that when the sound waves go towards these concrete objects, they are reflected back. So once they are reflected back, then they mingle. So that's why they place these things in strategic positions so that when they mingle, the sound effect is very great. So what this tells us is that concrete reflects back. Okay. So not only does it reflect back sound waves, concrete can also reflect back your mental waves. The thoughts that are coming from your mind, they go out, touch the concrete, and they come back to you again, which means more, right? So all that you're emitting out comes back. So there's more and more and more of that negative energy that's coming over you, right? On the other hand, water and trees, etc., they absorb this kind of mental energy. So if you are distressed, then you go out, right? Go out to a different place and breathe deeply, and the negative energy that's coming out will get dissipated in this beautiful environment, in the natural environment. Don't stay in a place which is unnatural, right? Stay away from things which are plastic. Don't drink from a plastic glass, drink from a metallic thing like that. Metal is better than glass or plastic like that. It's a higher thing. So do that. And then, of course, I'll give you the standard answer that try to chant. And then your response might be that it's impossible for me to chant, right? How can I chant? It's okay, but you still chant. Mind is going in hundreds places, you still chant. If not anything, you'll go to sleep, which is good. When you're distressed, you cannot sleep in any case like that, right? So these are some of the things that you can do, right? Eat sattvic food, because other food type of foods are only going to agitate your mind more, right? Stay away from jarring music, anything that's going to agitate. Try to do and stay um, um, in a positive environment. And also, Vari Namazyamataji is a prayer that the verse is going to happen, right? So why are you thinking negative, right? People's cell phones go down, they lose their connections. Sometimes there are pockets when your phone doesn't work. Why do you have to cry now? Have faith in Krishna. You're praying to Krishna every day, right? Have faith, have faith, have faith, right? We've all prayed for you. And remember, bad news travels faster than good news. So don't worry. No news is good news. That's what they say. Okay? So go there, wash your eyes nicely, and then come and sit. Yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah. Any other questions that are there? Let me see. See, Arunimata,
Yeah.
your granddaughter will be fine by Krishna's mercy. And there you go. You have devotees saying these things. They are going to happen. There you go. No negative thoughts. No negative thoughts. Right? Yeah. Think positive. Think positive. Yeah. Because negative your thoughts materialize. So if you think positive, the positive will materialize. So take out a piece of paper and write down, that your granddaughter has come back and you're talking to her like that, right? Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I will. I will. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can also switch off the TV for some time, because that news is only going to agitate you more and more. It's going to repeat it more and more times, right? Just let it be like that. Okay. You can watch it after 2 hours, but have 2 hours away. Sit down and pray to the Lord. Pray, and your prayers will be answered. They will be answered. Okay? Sit down and pray. This is what you can do for your granddaughter at this time. You see, and this is a classic example of how we can get, caught in some corner, pushed to some corner in this material world, and all that we can do is to pray to God. We are so helpless, right? Cannot do anything at all. The time, yeah. Yeah, this will bring you closer to Krishna and bring all of us closer to Krishna, actually, watching that this can happen to any one of us anytime, right? Yeah. This place is like that. Padam padam yat vipadam natesham. Every step there is danger. Yeah. Yeah. There's a famous verse that says that, I'm just going to give you the English for that. And it says that, if you have a pitcher full of water and you make one hole in that pitcher, all the water is going to go away, right? Just one hole in the pitcher is sufficient for all the water to go away. And then he says that this pitcher, this body is equated to a pitcher, right? Which has got 10 holes in it, right? There are so many holes in this body. And yet the soul stays inside it and doesn't run out of any of these holes. Isn't that amazing? Right? So have faith, have faith. Good things are going to happen. All right. So are there any more questions? Yeah. Is there a raised hand? Aruni Mataji has raised her hand. Mataji, go ahead.
I just wanted to bring up something that I'd already written on the message on the chat, but
Okay.
it just seems small compared to what we're talking about. But
Okay.
I was just going to say, when you're talking about, the devotees say, I must not have a thought. They keep thinking about there must be no thoughts. I mean, that itself is a thought. And I think when you're so intent on not having thoughts, and that itself is a thought, that is also, not only is it a thought, but it's a sign of agitation, which just stirs up more and more, agitated thoughts of not having thoughts. So which just, which stirs up more agitation. So I was just thinking that in order not to have thoughts, you really should not be focused on that at all. So you just let the thoughts come and go, and you allow yourself to think, and then gradually they'll dissipate.
Yes, and they will dissipate and they have to be replaced. They have to be replaced by a better thought, right? Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasupyasya param drishtva nivartate. Rasavarjam. Varjam means varjita. Don't do. No thoughts, no thoughts at varjan. So even if you say no thought, no thought, that thing about thinking will still be there, because the job of the mind is to think, right? And that's where the rebellion comes. I want to, don't want to think. The soul is thinking, mind is like, I want to let out one thought, right? Two thoughts, three thoughts, like that. And so we have to allow the mind to think. We just have to give it a suitable object to think about. And the best object that you can think about is Krishna, because he is the ultimate destination. And we read previously that all the distress is due to the lack of a ultimate goal, right? So if you make Krishna as the goal, then the mind will have something positive to feed on.
But I just want to say, in relation to that, sometimes when I'm very agitated about anything that crops up, um, I just give in to that, because if I try to suppress it and say I must chant, or I must, focus my mind on something positive, whatever it is that I'm agitated about, or that is the focus of my attention at that point in time, will just come back. So I just allow myself in my mind to just let it come out, because sometimes I just can't contain it. If it's something that's really really troubling me, or whatever, something that's really important to me. And I don't know if that's the right solution, but I just find that if I try to suppress it, and if I try to sit down, I mean, sometimes it works. If it's not really that important, it does work when I try to divert myself by chanting. But sometimes it's too much. If it's too much, it doesn't work. So I just allow myself to think about it, and just let it out in my mind, until it just recedes, and until I try to resolve it in my mind. And that's how I try and resolve it. I don't know if that's the right way or not, but I find that if I try to pretend that it's not there, and try to focus and try to cover it up, that's what it is. It's a cover up, and it's there, and it doesn't just go away.
Go away. Yeah, devotional service is not about pretense. It's about being authentic, right? It's about looking at it from the Shastra Chakshu and realizing that, yes, it is a thought, I'm going through a bad phase. Now, if you are at that level where you can handle it on your own, it's a very good thing. Very good thing, right? But if you have to let it out, we have to be sure that we are in a solitary place when we let it out, because if others are around it, you could damage relationships for life by letting it out just once, like that, right? So one of
I
the
mean,
things,
when I let it out, I mean in my mind.
yeah. So if you're going to do that, that's what I was saying. The first thing was, if you're able to do it, then fine, best, right? Inside the mind, you control the mind. And so that's why one of the things that they say is that, dadati pratiganati guhyam akhyati prichati. Guhyam akhyati prichati is that you just go and talk to some confidential, another devotee in confidence, and you're not even going there to get a solution, right? Not even you just say that today this thought crossed my mind, this thing happened, this instant happened, or right now this instant has happened, and I am feeling very agitated, I'm feeling very bad, and things like that. The moment you let it out to somebody that you're close to, and who's, you share confidences with, you believe me, in more 99% of the cases, there has to be no action to be taken. Just the fact that you have let it out will calm you down. And that's it. That's why you need to talk to somebody who's not going to agitate you, because people can also agitate you. That is, you go in confidence, you say that, oh yeah, how Varshana Mataji did that to me. And then you say, yeah, and should I tell you more? Like that. And now you're more agitated, right? On the other hand, sometimes devotees have got such a soothing effect on you. So that's
Wait,
also
what if
an
it's
option.
the other way around? They don't agitate, but what if it did happen to me once. What if the person does not, they don't necessarily, fan the flames, but they reject what they say. They're not empathetic. They're not sympathetic. They turn against you. I mean, that's really, that's a slap in the face. In fact, that happened once, and I was so angry because it's like, I mean, to use a crude analogy, it's like being raped, and then telling someone about it, and then the person saying, are you sure you didn't do this? I don't want to hear about it. It's very negative. It's like saying, this is very negative. Yeah, you were raped, but these people are my friends, and it's very negative. I don't want to hear about it. This word, it's very negative, has become a coverall for being unkind, unsympathetic, everything. I'm sick of that word when people use it, because it's a catchphrase for saying, just shut up, I don't want to hear about it. And when somebody says something like that, it's a real punch in the stomach, when they just don't want to hear about it, and they turn around and they turn against you. So not everybody is going to be empathetic, and that's that filled me with such anger, and it took me a long time to get over that. I mean, that was worse than the event itself that bothered me in the first place, and so even then we can't be sure, right? Like who's going to react in a way that helps us and who's not.
Yes. And you remember, it is Guhyam Akhyati Prichti. Guhyam Akhyati Prichti means that you are inquiring and discussing that in confidence. Now, you don't go and discuss everything with everybody, right? You have to discuss these things with somebody who is close to you, right? And then second thing is that, yes, sometimes we do get cheated in life. Sometimes we think that this person is close to us and they behave in such an obnoxious manner. But then it should only be happening to you one time with that person, in the sense that after that, don't even go there. Don't even go to that person, because you're going to get the negative reactions over there. Second thing is that here you see how it can take so many years for this hurt to go away, because the mind is bringing it back again and again to you, presenting it again and again. Remember what happened? Remember this happened? Remember this happened? Remember this happened, right? And so that person who said it once, with whatever frame of mind that person was in, has gone, right? And then 35 years later, maybe that person has already evolved, because everybody is in their spiritual journey. So they could be at some level of, immaturity. And now 35 years later, they have become mature. Maybe they even thought in their minds that, oh, I didn't handle Aruni properly, right? And which also is as a pointer that the moment you realize that you have done anything wrong, go back and apologize, right? Even if it's 20 years later, do that, because it settles the score very nicely with others. And so when thoughts like this arise in our mind, they have to be ripped apart, right? And cut into pieces. Now tell me, which form of the Lord can do that? Rip apart and cut to pieces. Which form of Krishna does that?
Narasimhadev.
There you go.
Narasimhadev.
Pray to Narasimhadev, right? And it says that, really root out whatever bad is in my heart. Right? Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, Namaste Jaste Jate. You have the power of all the power. This means you have the power to destroy this thought that is coming and haunting me over and over again. And believe me, if you pray sincerely, he will do it for you. Those thoughts will go away, which have been bothering you. They will go away. They will go away. That's the power of Narasimhadev. That's why we have that, Vajra Nakha, Vajra Dramsa, this teeth and nails. Because we are helpless. These thoughts are troubling us, right? And somebody has to go and whack them left and right and say, get out of here. Narasimhadev will do that. Yeah. Varshana Mataji, I have an eager hand. I see an eager hand there.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Very nice explanation, Mataji. I just wanted to add, whenever I am in any distress, Mataji, I just go to the Lord, because I have experienced people like Aruni Mataji said, that everybody may not be able to console you or be passionate to hear you properly. But Lord is one who hears you very patiently. And you see, one time, this kind of a thing happens many a times that, oh dear Lord, what is your problem? I mean, I'm such a bad person that you can't even flow a little bit of mercy on me. I'm suffering so much. Can't you do this for me? And Mataji, when I close my eyes and he directs me, he says, why don't you open? My conscience tells me, he tells me, open Bhagavad Gita, read it. And Mataji, I get my answer. And that is my peace giving. Bhagavad Gita is my peace giving uh, thing which really directs me in my life. So I request Aruni Mataji also if she can also try that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much, Aruni Mataji, for bringing this out of your heart. Um, I um, I would highly recommend Aruni Mataji to take Varshana Mataji's number because I see there are some certain things which are common, and she'll be able to tell you how she has handled this. And I've been close to her for like 10 years now, Varshana Mataji, so I know, she has learned it how to do it.
Okay,
You
I
can see
will.
that big change. Yeah, you can see that big change there.
I think you're going to get bombarded by messages now.
There you go. She'll handle it. She's very good at heart. She will do it for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And when she talks to you in the way, in her soft voice, she will talk to you. That itself will be very soothing. And that's why I was saying when you're agitated, you should go to a person who's going to calm you down. Don't go to a person who's going to agitate you. Right? And the television is a big agitator. Namaste Mataji. So you can switch it off. In any case, your spiritual master told you not to watch it.
I don't want to hear the TV, but we were waiting for names.
Yeah, that's fine.
They just give the names, and they didn't give any names.
Yes, I'm going to tell you something very thing. I don't know how many of you noticed this, that I did not know what happened today. I was in back to back. I was arranging for some initiation ceremonies that are going to happen. I was back to back in meetings for hours and hours and hours today. And, but the news still reached me. Right? So Krishna brought the news to me and then to all of us actually, so that we pray. So you see, this is what you have to open your eyes and watch and see what's exactly happening. So good news will also come. Good news, your granddaughter is not going to call to you through the television. On the television, what are you going to watch on the television? Do we even know that 10 have died or 12 have died? Do you even believe in that? Getting a list from the television is not a positive reaffirmation of anything. The positive reaffirmation will be when she calls you, right? So you don't need the TV for that because she's not going to talk to you through the TV, right? So that, keep making your conscious decisions, stay away from things that agitate you. Good news will reach you when it has to reach you. And Vidyavadhu Mataji is there. She'll tell me that I just, one of the 12 years ago, I woke up in the morning. I was doing all my ritual, all my chanting and all in the morning. And then I think it was 5:30. I was attending a Bhagavad Gita class with some others that I used to attend in the morning. I was attending that. And then she called. And I was like, oh, she's calling at such an odd hour, for her. There must be something wrong with her. So I excused myself the class and I took the call. And she said, well, I'm watching the television and they are saying that the waves, there is tsunami in Japan and the waves are going to hit Pacific Ocean in America and you live close to the ocean. And then I said, oh, thank you so much. Then I dialed the 911 and asked them, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to excavate myself? They said, no. Then I said, okay, what about Burlingame, where my spiritual master lives? He said, that's safe also. I said, all right, fine. Let's go back to the Bhagavad Gita class. So you see, if you have to be told about something, the news will reach you. Krishna will arrange that. On a boat, it'll come to you. I'm talking about boats today, right? Like that. Okay. So now we are 5 minutes past the hour, dear devotees. So I'll beg to take leave of you, but very nice decision. And Varshana Mataji, now you got a job. You're hired as a consultant. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Shraddha Mataji.
Thank
Jai
you.
Guru
Hare
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you all.
Wonderful
Thank you so much,
explanation.
Mataji.
There you go. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari
We
Bol.
will pray for you, Namaste Mataji. Everything will be all right.
Yes, we will pray.
There you go. You came to the right place. Now you got all to do with the right place.
Namaste, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.